Ladies and gentlemen, today is a very strange day for myself and Harley. We're doing one of these without talking about Walsall losing. Harley, it's just such a strange feeling. A whole month unbeaten.
Yeah. Are we dreaming? What's going on? To be
I
honest
mean,
with you, this is crazy.
I'm
This
sure
is
we'll
not what
still find
happens,
things
is
to
it?
moan about, but
Always.
no loss in any game. That's mental considering the start to the season that we've had.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if someone can find out when the last time this happened was, because it feels like a very, very long time ago. I can't think of a month where we've gone unbeaten for ages. So this is crazy.
Maybe
I mean,
maybe
off the back of
lockdown.
2 months,
Maybe lockdown.
mate.
Because we only played a couple of games in that March, but I don't think that really counts.
Yeah, and I don't think I can give you that one because
No,
it's not a full month.
no, but we'd have beaten Stevenage when it instead. But yeah. Anyway, firstly, Harley, how are you doing?
I'm great, thank you. How are you doing, Rob?
Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. It's everything's looking a bit positive at the moment, and it's I'd say the first time in really since Dean Keats like super start to the season that I feel that fans genuinely believe in the team and genuinely think that the group is going somewhere. So I think under Clark, there was always that result where it'd be, oh, back to reality. Whereas here we're sort of grinding out draws or wins when we're not playing well, but then still picking up points when we are.
Yeah, definitely. And it feels so weird because we've had a pretty torrid like 3, 4 years now since kind of the John Whitney era where it's just never quite got going. We've like you said, we've always had that one result. We've had like a couple wins and then we have a loss and then another loss, and it kind of we've never had a sustained run of like just not losing, and it's kind of crazy. Like just
I,
that difference, and you can see in the fans how much happy they are now with the club. There's things going on with like Jamie Fullerton and Pomlit, how there's less pressure on them now from the fans just because the results have picked up, and it's great to see.
yeah, I mean, actually, while you were saying that, it clicked when we must have had a month around this time last year because Walsall started the season with such an unbeaten run or with games. But that under Clark, I mean, we went something like 16 games without a loss, didn't we? Because we were the top in Europe. But
Yeah,
the difference there was that we weren't picking up the wins.
it was all draws.
And I mean, we became Drawsall.
We did, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know fans all kind of joke about that, but it was true. We were drawing a lot of games and our position wasn't really changing, even though we were unbeaten for so long. But we're now kind of, I mean, we were chatting just before starting, but in the 6 league games, we have won 3 of them, which, we've picked up 12 points from 6 league games. That's a really good return, especially when you look at some of the teams we've come up against. I mean, Exeter are sort of, they're 4th at the moment, or in a 6th. I know it was in the Papa John's Trophy, but drawing in 90 minutes to Northampton wasn't exactly a mean feat. And then Sutton United were, I think, 7th before or 6th before we played them. So they've not been easy matches to A, remain unbeaten, but B, also pick up a couple of wins in.
No, and I think if you look back to last month's episode, I think when we were talking about this, we were talking about what results we kind of wanted, and we've gone and done it. We've got the wins where we should have got the wins, which is not a Walsall thing. Usually we drop points against the teams that aren't so good, and we've turned that around with teams like Salford and Oldham. We've picked up the wins where we should be winning, and that has made the world of difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're right on that. I think everyone kind of we'd had a good draw against Exeter, then picked up the 3 points against Salford, another good point on the road against Orient. And it was sort of that, well, those three results look good if we do beat Oldham. And, 3-1, fantastic. I think the only criticism that we can say in the month was we should have seen out the victory against Barrow. But we're talking about games where we should have got all 3 points but drawn, rather than we should have got a point from that and we've lost, which, from a moaning standard, it's a better type of moan.
Yeah, exactly. And I think looking through what a lot of the fans have been saying who are at the games, they're kind of saying, well, yes, we did drop points, but we played really well. And that's all right. I don't mind that. If we're playing well, we're dominating the game, and we get unlucky and we drop points here and there, it is what it is. It's a long old season. It's going to happen, and it was Josh Gordon in the 96th minute.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was always going to happen.
It's one of them, isn't it?
But to kind of counter that with the Barrow game, I mean, against Sutton United, it wasn't a vintage display on the road.
No.
But the team are finding ways to get 3 points, which is great, because by rights, those results probably should have swapped over. We probably should have drawn to Sutton, but should have beaten Barrow. So there is that bit of trade-off. But I think overall, I'm extremely happy. And I did not think we'd be sat here today talking about, well, really picking up double figures.
Yeah, and one thing I picked out, because I was at the Oldham game, so I really got to see this for myself. The progression of the team, it's really clear to see, because that game, we got to 2-0 up and we were fine. And then they had a little spell where they were having a few kind of set pieces and stuff, and they scored, and the team wobbled. And we've seen that happen a few times this season, quite a bit actually, where the team has been in a winning position. They've conceded a goal. Bristol Rovers was the best example. The team's wobbled, dropped points. But we had a little wobble, and then there was like a second wind. And we managed to get the third goal to kill off the game. And that's what we've been lacking. And that was the turning point for me, where I was like, actually, you know what? Yeah, there's a real progression here, because a month ago we would not have won that game. So we wouldn't have had the desire and the ability and the understanding in the team to pull together and see out that game.
So what do you think has changed? I mean, for me, I think the biggest thing is the returning kind of players who've been injured.
Yeah.
I think it's just given us that more of a well-rounded squad. But what do you think from a tactical sense, or even a mentality sense, has changed so that there aren't those wobbles, or conceding a goal doesn't mean anything, but doesn't see heads drop? It's like, right, we've conceded, we're still going to go out and play, or we can still get a result here.
I think it's coming down a lot to player relationships. I think we've seen it with Meniasse and Monthi. They've been growing and growing and growing together, and they're really solid, and that's been helping us so much, having that stable base. Labadie coming back was huge, and I think as much as I miss Kinsella, him being injured has kind of allowed Labadie and Earring to develop a good double pivot.
Yeah.
And they're starting to pair really well. And I think the other player I'd like to throw in there is Osadibe, because we all criticised him at the start of the season because he didn't hit the ground running, but he has picked it up, and he started to play really well, and he's been that link in midfield, connecting the attack to the kind of defence and vice versa, and it has made the world of difference just having that link there, because we were kind of struggling with that. So I think they're the kind of the changes I've seen.
You've taken two of my points for further on in the recording. We may as well talk about them now. Kinsella's going to be it's an interesting one, because when he went off injured, everyone went, oh no, because it was that sort of thing that you're like, right, you lose a key player, how's this going to affect the team? But strangely, it seems to have made it stronger because it's forced a partnership. It's forced Labadie and Earing to work together. To follow that up, Osadibe, Earing dropping back has allowed Osadibe to play further forward. And for me, that midfield triangle of the three players is key to the team because they all know their roles. It suits all of them. And I don't know where Kinsella fits into that when he comes back.
Yeah, that's kind of the issue. And I think there was quite a bit of criticism at the start of the season when it was Labadie and Kinsella because it was too negative.
Yeah.
And because you've got two really good kind of defensive-minded, battle-hardened centre mids there, two real ball winners. And him being out has given Earing the chance to kind of drop into an 8 and start creating from deep. And every game he's played, whether he's registered an assist or a goal or whatever, he's done something and he's looked lively. He's taken the ball in well. He's distributed it well. He's been moving the ball around really well. And Labadie's allowing him to do that, which I think is really important. He's putting in the challenges. He's dominating the midfield, to be quite honest, and it's giving Earing so much freedom.
I think, I think you're totally right. I think having Labadie as that sort of the main holding midfielder who, he's not getting anywhere near the box, sort of making those last minute runs like Earing does, because Earing is the one doing it.
Yeah.
I do wonder as well whether this sort of, let's call it the midfield triangle, would have been found, or when it would have been found if it wasn't for the injury. It sort of feels that, I think when Kinsella was injured, or was it when Labadie was suspended, it was Kinsella, Osadibe and Earing was at the top of that. But it's such a natural swap. And I can't remember when it came, but it's just all kind of fallen into place. But then they've got the wingers now in the attack around them that can change. At the moment, it doesn't matter which of the attacking players is starting. Obviously, Miller's going to start at the top. But either side, it could be Shade, it could be Wilkinson when he's fit, it could be Phillips, it could be Kiernan, it could be Otis Khan. They are really strong choices and will keep teams guessing, because where we've gone from being very predictable, we're now looking. I mean, the fans don't know who's going to be playing in those wide roles. And it's not a bad thing for it to get mixed up. And I think we were here a month, 2 months ago going, where's the squad depth?
Yeah.
Massively so.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it was just after the Sutton game, and Matt Taylor was doing an interview, and he said that the players, they're really fighting to get into the first team. And Tyree Shade, he's really, really trying to get into the first team, and you can see that, and that's what we want from the loan players. I think that the recruitment of loan players has been exceptional, which is not something we see very often. And the fact that these players, you've got, like you say, Kiernan, Shade, Phillips, Wilkinson, they all want to be in the first team, and they're all fighting for it, and they're all battling against each other, and it's creating this really good environment where everyone's egging each other on to try and be the best they can be, and it's brilliant to see.
With obviously all those players in mind, do you think the signing of Khan was needed, or what are your views on that? Because I think he signed after we did our last one. I can't quite remember when he did sign, actually.
It was about 2 weeks ago, I think. It was just before Oldham, is what it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't mind it, because he's a good player, Otis Khan is.
Yeah.
He's done really well for Tranmere. A lot of the Tranmere fans have spoken quite highly of him, and he's an extra option to have. And I don't mind having extra options. I think that's always a good thing. And we're going to pick up more injuries and suspensions and stuff. Yeah, I think Wilkinson's picked up another slight knock, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I think that's all right. I'm happy with it, to be honest, and it's a good person to bring in to have as an extra option.
I can't remember whether it was this summer or last summer, but I actually said we should sign him. Just called it here first. It was one of those that when it said we'd signed Khan, I was like, it's got to be Otis. Like
Yeah,
yes, I think it's the only player I've ever said we should sign this player, and they've gone and done it. So, maybe I'll get a job on the recruitment team.
maybe you will. They've clearly been listening to you.
Clearly, finally, at least
It's about
someone
time.
is, eh?
Yeah.
So I quite like the signing of Otis Khan. I think he's versatile, and I think it also gives Holden a bit of extra time because we're now not going.
Yeah.
We need Holden back. We've got another player there that can step in, that can come in if Osadibi needs a rest for a game, or Earring, or any of the wide players. So I think it provides that bit of cover. It's not a short-term deal, so he's going to want to fight and kind of get settled at a club again, like he did really at Yeovil, where he was there for like 2-3 years. So I want to get your opinion now on sort of more the negative side of things. Has there been anything that's concerned you? Any player performances? Anything that that hasn't been kind of great, bearing in mind the unbeaten run?
There hasn't been too much wrong this month, in all honesty, and I think I'm going to have to bang the same old drum that I've been
I know
going on
exactly
about
what you're going to say. I know
for
exactly where you're going with
months.
this. Is it a certain left back position?
It's a certain left back position, and it's a certain set pieces, and conditioning is still a problem.
Yeah.
And Ward, to his credit, is getting better. He's playing a bit better, but I still don't feel confident with him. I really don't. And it worries me that, one, he could get injured, and two, I just he's just all right. Like the rest of the team, I'm like, really good, happy with that, really solid League Two
I thought
team.
you were going for a really deep comment then, and it just was, he's just all right.
But you watch him and you're like, he's not terrible, but he's not good either. He's I can't find the words to describe him more than he's just all right, because there's not much more to it than that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I wish I could, but it's just
But
ask anyone and they'll say that, I think.
if it's playing devil's advocate, can we be happy with just being all right in one position when everyone else is doing well? Or is it, no, is that going to be the thing that sort of stops us pushing the playoffs?
I think we can't be unhappy with it.
Yeah.
Because to have a squad where I would say in the starting 11, I'm happy with 10 of the players is a very, very good thing to say.
Yeah.
The 11th one is he's just fine. I don't think that's a terrible thing at all. I just think that it's not so much that I don't think he's a good player. It's just that he's the only left back we have. And I'd rather, at least if we're going to have an all right left back, I'd rather have two all right left backs, and at least we've got some choice. And one might be better than the other in certain games, but we're kind of stuck with this one.
Yeah, I still personally feel that we missed a trick getting Melbourne back.
Yeah, 100%.
But I mean that's the ex-player thing. But for me, I felt that we knew what we were getting from him, and I think put him in this current team and he'd be very good. And
I agree.
And I think that's why I wanted him to come back, because the overall team would have been better And he did all right in a pretty poor team last season. So imagine what he could do now. Right. So
Yeah, I think it's that kind of trade-off, isn't it?
Yeah.
With like experience and youth. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's look ahead to November. We have a total of 6 games, 2 cups, 4 league games. If we go unbeaten, then wow, just wow. I don't see it happening. I'm sure there's going to be a game, probably Port Vale, where we'll have been on a great run, and we all know what's going to happen. So I'll read out the fixtures. So we've got Kings Lynn in the FA Cup. Then we've got Forest Green in the group stage of the trophy. Then in the league, we've got home games against Harrogate. Harrogate is going to be a big, big game.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Then Rochdale, then the small matter of Port Vale away, and then Carlisle away. How do you see the month going?
I think we have to beat Kings Lynn. We just have to.
Yeah.
And then Forest Green, doesn't really matter what happens there because we're already through. So.
Yeah, I think that's the game that I go, do you know what? If we're ending our unbeaten run, let's do it there. Keep the league one going. But I'd rather see, obviously I want Ward rested, maybe give Taylor a game at centre back.
Yeah.
If we can, rest Miller, maybe put Phillips up top, give Bates and Perry a chance. That's the sort of lineup I'd like to see from that game.
Yeah, and I completely agree because that game kind of is a bit meaningless for us.
Yeah, I would like to see full strength against Kings Lynn. For me, we've got to take that as important as a league game. And I know the club will, but they can't see it as a relegation zone in the National League. It's got to be the strongest 11. Maybe Jack Rose in goal, but the strong.
I think if Taylor takes the FA Cup seriously, which I think he will, then I'd really love to see us get to round 3 and play quite a big team. So I think if he takes it seriously, there's no reason why we can't.
No,
because that'll do us the world of good in terms of just revenue. If we can play at home and get like a Championship or a Premier League side to come to us, a lot of money in that, and that's really good to see. So I think we need to take that one seriously, like you say. And then what was after?
Sorry, I'm just scared.
Oh yeah,
just having a look. Actually, just had a thought. I don't normally have those.
First time for everything.
Yeah, and if it is, he didn't. I wondered whether Matt Taylor was in the Portsmouth side that won the FA Cup. But he wasn't. It was 2008 and he was there till then. But yeah, I mean, he's played. I would imagine that he's going to take it seriously. He's played in it. He knows how important it is. He also knows how important it is for lower league clubs, like you said.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I think Walsall have been picked for extended highlights, which means that we get paid. I can't remember the sum now, but if we win, given the ticket revenue share that we'll get, plus the TV and that, we're going to be looking at around 80,000-90,000 if we win at the weekend. I think, if my guesstimations are correct.
Yeah.
That's not to be sniffed at, to get that sort of money and then progress into the next round where, like you said, if you get to the third round, even if it's Championship side, a good away day. If it's Prem, even better.
Yeah, and we can sell out a massive attendance in the away end if it's a big club that comes.
Absolutely.
And the home attendance will be massive as well.
Yeah.
And that's going to be so beneficial to us. So I really hope we can do it.
Yeah. I mean, if you have let's say a big away day, I'm going to go not big, but let's say like a Fulham away. We're going top end of the Championship. with the revenue share that we'll get from that, and with wins in rounds 1 and 2 and the monies that come from that, you're looking at 250,000, which that's huge. And we've got an opportunity to get off to a good start against a team that are struggling whilst we're in form. But then again, you look at it and it's a potential banana skin moment.
Yeah, aren't they all?
Well, yeah,
yeah. It's always that, isn't it? It's always that kind of caveat. But I think that this team has shown that we're not going to fall for it.
No,
we're gonna take the games where we should win seriously, and we're gonna win them and try and win them convincingly, rather than ride our luck and be like, oh, we should win this. So we're not gonna go all out.
Yeah,
we need to make sure that we will go all out, and Matt Taylor will.
Yeah. So obviously we've briefly spoken about Forest Green, Harrogate, Rochdale, Vale, Carlisle. For me, there is at least 6 points in that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Harrogate will be an interesting one.
Yeah.
I think that could be one where we drop points.
Have you seen where they are in the league?
Where are they now?
They are 7th. So if
they dropped to 7th.
Yeah, if we beat Harrogate, we level with them on points.
Yeah. I think this could be the month where we could get into the playoffs if we play our cards right.
Yeah, it is a make or break month.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to dramatize it a bit here, but our season is going to hang on what happens at Port Vale. So I think if we go away to Port Vale and we beat them, we beat Darrell Clark's high-flying Vale, that is a statement to the rest of the league.
Yeah.
And I think that could give us the spur we need to go on and finish the season in the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, the crazy thing is, they've had a very good season. We started off badly. We're only 8 points behind, which I know 8 points is, you've got 3 matches to turn that round, but that's obscenely close from 14th to 2nd.
Yeah, there's nothing in it. Like, the league is very, very close. And League Two kind of always is, but at the moment, why can't we go and beat them? That's what I think. Like, we really could. Just because there's 12 positions between us means nothing, because it's only 8 points, and that eight points in a month's time could be us 3 points ahead of them or something like that. It's
very optimistic.
Wow. It's a happy episode, this one is.
Yeah.
We haven't been able to be happy for a couple of months, so we're being optimistic.
I think for me, I'd love us to go unbeaten again, but I don't. There's going to be a game in that we lose, and I'm taking out the Forest Green match within that.
Yeah,
I'm looking really at the four league games. Knowing our luck, we'll have great results against Harrogate, Rochdale, Vale, and then lose to relegation zone Carlisle. But
probably,
if we've just beaten Port Vale away on the road, I don't think. For me, I think if we take 7 points from those 4 games, I don't think we've done badly.
No. One thing I will be interested to see is I'm going to be at Port Vale away, and I want to see how our players react to that atmosphere.
Yeah.
Because of the history of the last kind of season or so, and then being our kind of closest geographical rivals, it's a big derby for us this season. It's going to be a very intense atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, Vale's always been sort of, they're not like neighbours, but they're our closest rivals. And we, like you said, with everything that went on, the initial allocation's around 800, which I imagine we'll sell that out. Unfortunately, 100%. Some of us will not be able to get to a Port Vale on a Tuesday night, but we'll be watching from iFollow, which is so painful because that was the one game that when the fixtures came out, we all looked for Port Vale away.
Yeah.
And everyone is gutted that it's a Tuesday night.
The interesting thing is right at the back end of the season, like one of the last kind of 3-4 games, we have Vale at home, and that is going to be a wild game because if we're both in the playoffs come May, that's going to be incredible.
That's, you know what? I think that's the perfect place to end. Promotion party beating Vale at home towards the end of the season. Yeah, we've gone from slating the team because we've signed a nobody called George Miller. 2 months later, going, we are going to beat Vale to get into the automatic promotion spots.
It's been a wild month, hasn't it?
It's been a wild month. As always, thank you everybody for watching. Harley, great to chat to you again. I really hope that we sit here in a month's time and it's been, let's say, 75% as good as it has been this month. I think I'd take anything above that.
I'm going to up that and say I want it to be as good as this month. I want another unbeaten month. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and thank you for watching, everyone.
I'm going to ask one final question on that.
Go on.
We lose every other game, but spank Vale 4-0 on the road. Do you see it as a good month?
Yes, very much so.
Great. Well, when that happens and we've slipped back down the table, you can all thank Harley.